Hey, this is Tim the electrician, and today I'm going to show you how to mount a plastic ceiling box. This is the plastic ceiling box. They're fairly common. They're used to mount light fixtures. It just consists of this plastic box with metal nails on brackets on the sides, and you basically just pound those into the wood. In this case, I'm working in the ceiling of an open ceiling of a basement. And so I'm going to just be kind of demonstrating what to do to mount one of these. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to measure where the light is going to go. And so in this case, I just measured the length and width of this room, and I determined where I wanted to put the light, which is in the approximate center in this case. It actually ended up, in my case, the center actually ended up a little bit more so on this side of this joist, but this I'm going to demonstrate by putting it on this side and then relocating it later, just because it was better for the camera angle and such. So in this case, I'm going to have the open ceiling, but these boxes are also used when there's going to be drywall. If there's going to be drywall, it's really as simple as you can see on the side of this box. It's got on that at the top of that flat part, it's got a little lip, and that lip, when you want to mount this, you're just going to put this and slide it up until it hits that lip, and that's going to position the box perfectly to stick down about 3/8 of an inch from the wood, which is just slightly thinner than the half-inch drywall that you'd be putting on a ceiling. And so it positions the box perfectly so that the bottom of the box is approximately flush with the bottom of the drywall. And then you would just be mounting your light fixture once the drywall is up and everything. So in this case, if you were going to do that, or if you were just going to mount it onto a ceiling and you had no constraints as far as how far the bulb or the fixture sticks down, which I'm going to get into in a few minutes, then you can just mount it directly on the side of the joist, and you just pound those nails in, and you drive them home to a point where they're just snug onto those brackets. You don't want this to be loose. You want it to be tight, but you also don't want to nail those in with all your strength, because if you go too far, these boxes, the plastic is fairly strong, but it's also fairly brittle. So if you go to a point past where they can take it, it'll smash that bracket right off the box. So you just pound those nails until you hit, and then you're good to go. Then you can mount your light fixture onto there if it's just an open ceiling like this, or go back later once it's drywalled and finish putting the light fixture on. Of course, you got to wire it too, but I'm just showing how to install the box. So there may be applications where you've got a basement ceiling where the distance that the fixture sticks down from the ceiling might be a problem. In this case, I don't really have that problem. The ceilings here are 8-foot ceilings, so don't really have any height constrictions, but you may have a basement, or these are used commonly in attic ceilings where you don't have a lot of headroom, and so you might want to try and cheat this thing up a little bit so that it's not in your way. If you've only got a 7-foot ceiling, then you might be smacking into the light fixture all the time when you're moving around the basement or loading shelves or whatever you got to do. So I'm going to show you a couple of tricks to maybe help mitigate that a little bit, and so you're not always hitting the fixture. And it's fairly simple. This way involves just using a simple wooden block. This is just a chunk of 2x4. I've pre-drilled a couple of holes into it. You don't have to pre-drill the holes. You can use just a couple of long nails, spikes, to mount this 2x4. I'm choosing to use screws because I'm in a house where everything's already finished. There's plumbing in the ceiling. There's stuff upstairs. There's stuff hanging on the walls. I don't want to be banging so hard to pound those nails in that I'm going to be shaking things all over the place. So I decided to use screws. That also, with the screws, it's easier to take the block off if, say, you accidentally put it in the wrong place, or you want to relocate it and you just don't like where it ended up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and determine about how far down the light fixture is going to stick down and where I want it to be. So I'm just going to hold the block up here. I'm just going to kind of pick a spot for now. And hold the box on there. And I've got a light fixture here. This is just I'm using a keyless light fixture with just a regular incandescent light bulb. Keyless meaning that it has no switch. It's just a socket, and it has a switch. The switch is over there on the wall that actually will be controlling the light. So I'm going to hold this up here, and I'm just going to hold it to the bottom of that box just to get an idea. And you can see that that light bulb is only sticking down about 1 inch maybe from the bottom of the joist. If I didn't have it moved up like that, that light fixture would be way down here. And so that bulb is sticking down probably about 5 inches from the bottom of the joist, which could make all the difference in the world if you've got a low ceiling and you got tall people who live in your house or something, and you need that bulb out of the way. You don't want it to be getting smashed all the time. So I've determined I want it to be about there. I want to get the block level, so I'm just going to put a mark at the bottom of the block over here. So I've got a mark there. Now I'm going to measure up to that mark. It's at about 3.5 inches. So then I'm going to take it and I'm going to make another mark over here, about towards the other end of the block. I'm going to make a mark at 3.5 inches. So now I have 2 marks that I can level the block with when I install it. So I'm going to start the screws in the holes on the block. I'm going to hold the block up there. Screw the screws in. I stripped the screw because I did another previous take of this and the screw got a little mangled. But anyway, it's good enough. So then it just becomes as simple as mounting the box onto that block. I'm just gonna tack it on there for now because I'm gonna move it later. And now you can see once you wire it and everything and you mount this light fixture, it's gonna be up and out of the way. Now the other thing this does by having this block on here is it keeps the bulb a little farther away from the wooden joist because the bulb's going to get hot. I'm probably going to actually use an LED bulb in here, which runs a lot cooler, but if you're using incandescents, and I still use incandescents, I have a lot of them still, then that bulb, that's obviously going to get hot. It'll get a little farther away from the joist. Now the other thing you can do with these, the other good thing about the block is that maybe when you measured the center of your room, the center didn't actually come to be, it wasn't perfectly right up against the joist like this. So you may want to use the block. If it was only out 1 inch or 2, you can actually use the block. In a basement like this, maybe it doesn't matter so much, but if you were doing an actual light fixture where you would be drywalling the ceiling, say in a room or something, a bedroom or something, you're going to want that that box precisely in the center. And where you measure to, there may not be a joist that you can nail to directly. So if you only need 1.5 inches or something like that, or a couple inches, you can build it out with a block like this, and that'll get you to exactly precisely where you need to be. You could even go 2 blocks. If you're using it in an open application like this, I don't tend to use more than 2 blocks. A couple reasons. One, it can get a little bit shifty, like it will move a little bit because you've got the 2 blocks and they're nailed. It's not so much a problem in this application when you're using a keyless light where the switch is over there, but if you're using a light with a pull chain, the farther out you get from the joist, the more when you pull on it, it could actually be moving that, and it's not ideal. The other thing is, in an open application like this, I think that if you use more than 2 blocks, it tends to get a little ugly and unprofessional looking. So if you've got your measurement and you measure it and it comes out that the center of the room is out, say in the middle of the joist space here, all you have to do, and this block is not cut to the right size for this, you would cut a block to the proper width between the joists, but you can just mount the block this direction, and then you can move the light fixture anywhere you want along that block. And you can also do the same trick with moving the block up, and you can do the same thing, you can put it up high. So that's just a trick, a couple of tricks for getting a plastic ceiling box mounted and mounting it out of the way in case you've got some reason where you've got like a height restriction or height constraint or something, you got a low ceiling or something. So I hope that helps you out, and I'll see you on the next one.